As a kid, I never understood school. I would do art and I would draw in my sketchbooks and draw on paper and make stuff on the computer. And I was lucky enough that I was able to go to art classes too. My mom got me those. There was like a comic making class in town, and I went to that. And I'd be happy. And I liked doing that. And I had to go to school and I had to do all this homework. And I was like, why do I have to do that? And for some reason, people would say, like, well, if you don't do that, you're going to fail. You're going to become a loser. And I never understood that because there were people that made art and animation and video games and comics. And clearly they made money and they were doing something. So why couldn't I just do that all the time? Well, it's just not how the world works. It's like, well, why not? Why isn't the world that way? Um, Whenever I would ask questions like that, if I got too deep with it, some people around me got really pissed off, and I never understood it. I think a lot of it is like stupidity. These people are dumb. They cannot understand hypotheticals, um, n order thinking, where it's like this thing leads to that thing and 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 that thing. It's hard for them to keep that stuff in their heads. They just can't handle it. Man, watching myself eating, I never realized how much I hate watching people eat. It's disgusting. I hate watching it. It's so gross. Absolutely disgusting. But um, yeah, I think a lot of people are just very stupid and they can't understand these things. Here I am going to get the last bit of this. And instead of them really trying to think about it and thinking, oh, wow, maybe you're right. Maybe you're actually correct about something. You're correct about this thing. That makes sense. And the thing that we do doesn't make sense. So let's change it. Let's do something different. Okay, you don't have to do that anymore because that makes sense. You've convinced me. You've convinced me that the way that we do things is retarded. Let's change it. Let's do something else. Let's file a petition. Let's start a new thing. Let's change the rule. Let's change the rules. Let's change the laws. Let's find an alternative program for you to do. Instead, it's like these people think like you're being argumentative or like, bad. You shouldn't be doing that. Stop asking those questions. Just shut up and do it. It's like, well, is that how you live your life? You just shut up and do things? What if I tell you to kill your dog? What if I tell you to jump off a bridge? That old adage. Are you just going to do it? Something that I want to get across maybe is that people who don't question anything, they don't seem to resist anything about how the world works. They don't care. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want you to talk about it. They don't want anybody to talk about it. They just want to get through their day, stuff like that. Like to what? Get through your day to what? So you can sit there and watch a little bit of TV? You're happy with that? You're satisfied with that? Seriously? You're genuinely happy with how that turned out. And meanwhile, there's people who have millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they can do whatever the fuck they want. Pretty much always. They can go where they want, eat what they want, buy what they want. They got great friends. They can hang out with who they want. Oops, that's for wear what they want. Did I say do what they want? And you look at those people and like, do you ever think like, well, how do I become like them? I want to be like that. I want to be like them. I want to do that. That sounds awesome. That looks amazing. Excuse me. But do you ever think like, maybe I could do that? maybe I can get something like that done. And I can live that way. Or do you just think, oh no, they're a special class of people. You're not like them. They live very different lives than us. This person that I'm talking about, that I'm thinking of when I'm saying this, actually said that to me once. They live very different lives than us. It's like, okay, how do we do that? And that's a real question. But some people will just get, or maybe this one person will get very mad at you for asking something like that. And it's like, are you stupid? And the more time goes on, the more I think that, yeah, maybe that's the case. Or they're traumatized, or I don't know, they just have no imagination. And like, they have such little imagination that it's hard for them to think of like some creative thing to eat for dinner. It's that bad. And people like this, or people like this person, who are this person, uh, or just this person, whatever, they don't, it's like they have no creativity at all. It's just gone. It's non-existent. And it's like they cannot think beyond, like, but the gas station has like soda and you need to drink something, so drink the soda. It's like, yeah, but there's other choices in there. I can get like a water bottle or something. And actually, they have a fucking uh, V8 drink in there, vegetable smoothie. You can eat one. You can just get one in there. They have it. No, no, don't do that. No, no. Why? Why not? Don't you start with me? This kind of shit. What is wrong with you? You're like a character from a movie, from an old timey movie, where people seem to have like three emotions. Because they're like severely malnourished, or they were lead poisoned, or their parents drank and smoked a little bit while they were in the womb. Maybe their parents hit them a little bit too hard when they were kids. I'll never understand the boomer generation. Very, very weird people. Or maybe it's just stupid people who act like NPCs. They act like idiots, they act like robots. And they have like no sense of self of their own. None. And it's like talking to drywall. It's really weird. There's three buttons on the wall, and you punch the wall, and they have three different responses. And sometimes you can hit different combinations to get a different response. I'll never understand that. People who are just totally okay with the status quo, because obviously something has been very wrong for a long time, maybe, and I don't want to just accept that shit. Why would I? I want to be happy. You know, I was not given the choice to come into this world, as far as I know. Maybe I did. Maybe I was. But now that I'm here, I want to have a good time. What makes you think I'm just gonna like do whatever you want? Fucking weirdo. Go fuck yourself. Have a nervous conniption and keel over. Get out of my fucking way. Seriously. But I'll never understand people, especially people who were born in the time of the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and classic rock and all this shit. That they think that they have to go get a job and get a degree and work their lives away for their 2 or 3 kids. Why do you think that you have to do that? Why do you do it? Don't you want to live another way? And I guess for some of these people, it's like they just don't. They don't want it. They don't care. It scares them to think of anything else. Whereas for me, I wasn't really scared at all. In fact, that did nothing but excite me. And every time I got out, I felt so much better. And every time I'm around this person, I get the same stress over and over again. And either this person was severely traumatized, or they're very uncreative, and or they're just kind of stupid. And if you're dealing with people like that in your life, I will say, get the fuck away from them. Just get away from them, because they don't change and they're really stubborn and they always think that they're right, even though their IQ is probably like 95. Seriously, they're probably just not that intelligent. You're gonna want to kill yourself dealing with a person like that. So either get the fuck away if you can, and or stand your ground. Just be like, you're an idiot. You're so stupid. Stop talking. Get out of my face. You know, these kinds of people are like trying to get in your way of pursuing your own happiness. Do not let them. Don't let them convince you. Because especially if they're not living the life that you want to live, why the fuck would you take their advice? If they're better than you at something, okay, maybe you can listen to them on that thing. But if you're trying to be an artist and you know, they never got past like, you know, stage 2 of some organization, don't fucking listen to them because they